All right. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Lunge and Lift podcast. My name is Ash,
And I'm Rob.
and today we're going to talk about the coronavirus craziness that has affected the fitness industry. We're going to whiz through sort of the impact on the industry, how the training landscape has changed, and our take on how it's affected people's training behavior, our approach to our clients and our own training, and some advice on basically how to make the most of the situation and continue to progress towards your goals. Um, yeah, so that's on the agenda. And yeah, to kick off, we're just going to talk about what's happened. Like, well, Rob, tell me about the situation. What's changed? Like, why are we doing this by Zoom?
Obviously, as I think we're all pretty aware, we're all isolated at the moment to your own homes and stuff. And it's been an interesting time because for me, I've had, as I guess you probably very similar, had so many people messaging me like, "Oh, where can I get some dumbbells? Where can I get it?" So fitness is on the forefront of so many people's minds, which is absolutely amazing. Personally, I think every single fitness store that I could think of was sold out of dumbbells, like especially like the typical weights. And even when it comes to like bags of sand, because I've been saying to people, create your own sandbags, not just to get a form of weight at home. But now, like say Wicks and B&Q's is closed, so you can't really buy sand. So it's been mental. This, and obviously now we wanted to do some more episodes, but now we obviously we got socially distance each other, so I think we're pretty far away from each other right now. Obviously Essex and the middle of London. So, but yeah, it's absolutely mental, don't you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, well, for anyone who's been under a rock, all the gyms in London and most like kind of widespread over much of the world have closed because they're an area where infection can obviously spread very quickly. There's a lot of close proximity between people, a lot of heavy breathing as well. So pretty good
A lot of
circumstances to
spotting
spread
and stuff like that, making sure.
exactly. Yeah, getting a bit too close. So everyone's freaking out and their normal training routines have been massively disrupted. They don't have access to the same kits that they would do in the normal gym and the same classes or instruction. So everything's changed really. And yeah, like you say, there's been a massive uptick in people buying equipment for their own home gyms. There's been some people basically making iron paradise in the garage.
It's been ideal. I've had people message me and go, "Oh, you're so lucky. Your setup and stuff like that." I was like, "Do you think I predicted this Corona thing?" No.
Yeah.
As soon as I moved in, so last year in January, we moved in. By the middle of February, I think it was, I would already had the concrete base laid for where the gym will be. So it was always a priority for me that once I had the space to have my own home gym. But what I've noticed is just, I think with all this like panic and stuff, it's definitely, with now fitness is on the forefront of so many people's mind, it's definitely the fitness industry is gonna change. I definitely think it's gonna. I'm not even sure how, to be honest with you. It's been really interesting because I've been having a lot of thoughts trying to think about how is the fitness industry going to respond to everyone's say madness, and the fact that now everyone's creating their own home gyms essentially. Are they going to need commercial gyms? Because now they're going to start training at home and they're going to start to feel like, okay, this is good. I can do things in my own time. I can, wear what I like. All these things are going to start playing a thing. And it's like people are going to start to realize the benefit of a home gym. Now, is the home gym, say, the answer? Not necessarily, but I think it's people are getting exposed to something that they may not have thought. And also online training. A lot of people weren't even conscious of like what, say, for a start, online programming, because I didn't really realize what that was like. But secondly, they didn't even really think about doing like consultations, sessions over Zoom and stuff like that, like what we're doing with this. It's like there is value in it, and I think there's going to be I think we're going to go back. I do think, especially when we go back to normality, as they say it's going to be. But as soon as when we do get back in and the gyms reopen and stuff, I do think we're going to all shift back towards that way of, say, training and living. But there is going to be that conscious thought in the back of everyone's mind now. And I think where people, all this equipment that they've bought is not now going to disappear. So they don't want it to just sit there and get dusty. So they're going to be like, cool, so am I now going to maybe go to the gym less? Or because I know when we discussed just before we started this is, I think when it comes to the gyms, the reason why I say a lot of these like class-based gyms and stuff are not going to be, I wouldn't really say they're going to be affected too much, because the class-based gyms are all about the community. And especially for myself, why I say got suckered into CrossFit is because of the community. And everyone, you know, it doesn't matter where you are in the world, you can go to anyone's box and they're always the same, welcoming, kind of following a similar sort of program. Everyone's doing the same sort of thing. So you're all in the same ride. And that's where, you know, CrossFit, why it's blown up as much as it did over the past, say, 10, 12 years now. And yeah, I think it's going to be such an interesting period of time, this whole Corona period, essentially.
Yeah. And like, what would you say the main or changes that have happened already? Like from my perspective, just from social media, you're seeing like a massive proliferation of Instagram live home workouts, like any sort of peak hour of the day, just before 9, around lunchtime, and about 5 or 6. It seems like every PT under the sun is doing their version of an Instagram live workout for free. And I think it's well, because we've got a lot of friends and colleagues who work in fitness, it's changed the way we work drastically, because especially if everything you did was in person, that's been taken away from you. Like even PTing in the park is not allowed at the moment in current lockdown. So everyone's sort of scrambling for how they can continue to provide their service. So Zoom or like FaceTime PT, remote classes, which most of the class-based providers like CrossFit gyms and the boutique studios seem to be just trying to keep their members going by join in big Zoom workouts. And I think a lot of people are enjoying them. But like you say, I don't think it's ever going to replace the actual being in
energy
person.
In the gym. And do you know what, right, it's so when it comes to like these online everyone's free workouts that they're doing and stuff like that, I think it's great how the fitness industry all pulled together with this. I think it's a real common theme. Don't get me wrong, I know plenty of PTs aren't providing anything even for their clients, which I was a bit surprised about. But personally, I'm offering a daily workout, but a lot of that is for my own accountability. So, you know, when we're all stuck at home, is even if you're a trainer and you're into fitness and stuff like that, sometimes to motivate yourself to actually train can be a little bit tricky, especially when you're training from home and you're in your own comfort, your surroundings. You know, if you're doing any work or you're on your laptop, or recently I've been doing some gardening. So like doing a whole day is like trying to get out of tree stumps and then thinking I've now got to go and train. So, but because I was doing these daily uploads, I knew I had to. So I think it's crazy the quality of content that's being put out there for free. And that's this is not blowing my own trumpet, but it's like my program, what I do is exactly what I would do, and I would say normally charge for this if it was if it was a generalized program, say. But the problem is, I think, is now you're getting too many people where they follow so many influencers or people like myself, which aren't quite an influencer, but we have an influence on some people, and they're deciding, right, I'm going to do this person's program, I'm going to do this person's program, I'm going to do this person's, and it's like they're creating their own workout week, which is great. But what that normally means is they're going to be picking things that they enjoy, which means they're going to shy away from their weaknesses, which for me, this is an opportunity to thrive in your weaknesses, do things that the fact that most of us say, okay, I've got access to a barbell, but I'm now actively not using that barbell because I'm thinking this is an opportunity for me to, you know, build my weaknesses, you know, work my independent side. So where my left side is a little bit weaker than my right. So I'm going to start focusing on that. And it's just, I think because there's so much, just like in general, you know, this day and age, there's so much information out there. We don't have a lack of information, but people are struggling to understand what to follow. And because there's so much, people are following everyone, and then they're getting a really blurred picture. So when they say about, you know, oh, I'm going to do this person's HIIT workout on that day, then I'm going to do this as bodybuilding that workout on the same day, and it will say a HIIT workout, which is all say pushing, and then the bodybuilder workout will say a chest day, for instance. And it's like,
Yeah.
so you're doing the same thing over and over again. It's like, but why? And this is where I think we need to, as an industry, we need to now, I think, educate people and say, okay, cool. If you are following people's programs that we're all providing online, just try and keep some consistency in who you're following, and don't keep cherry picking stuff that you do. Because when you go to, say, like a gym, say like where we work at WIT and stuff, where we have a program that everyone should be following, which means you're not overloading the same things day in and day out, because it's what you say enjoy.
Yeah, exactly. I think you touched on it earlier, but the programming side of things is key now, because there is such an overwhelming like tidal wave of workout options coming at everybody, and it's difficult to know which one you should do, and the continuity between sessions. Like, sure, if you just want to do a random dumb sweat every day, you can do that. There's just type #spicy into Instagram and you'll find a million options. But if you want to get a little bit more sophisticated with your training, obviously the progression needs to be sensible. The structure of the program needs to be sensible. So you're not doing the same thing every day. You have adequate recovery between sessions. And that, I think, is a piece that's missing, because it is harder to give somebody structured progression when they don't have access to a full selection of weights. They don't have access to all the fraction plates. They've just got one or two dumbbells, maybe, if they're lucky. And how can you get them to progressively overload their training? And even before that, people are sort of forgetting what they're training for. They're like, what are your training goals? Say you're in the middle of a strength cycle, then your gym gets closed, and then all of a sudden you're just doing 50 minutes of burpees. Do
you know what? This is where I think, as you said about following, say, when we discuss about following people's programs, and it's if you want to just do a dumb sweat, say, as we called it, like, if you just want to just get your work on, then fine. But if you could probably follow someone who is providing daily sweaty workouts. So that, and technically they shouldn't be overloading the same thing day in, day out. So there is the value in that, and that's completely fine if that's the way you want to train. And that might be, I have people that come to Virgin, and you can tell they're following, like, say, insanity workouts. So, like, it's made for your home. Why are you coming to the gym to do that? After our technical difficulty, we're now just bringing it back. What we want to say is just, I think the main thing that people are forgetting is why they go to the gym and their goal. Like, why do they follow whoever's program they normally follow? Whether they, go to, say, a CrossFit gym and follow their programming, why are they now maybe doing one CrossFit day, then they're doing, say, this fitness influencer, then they're going to do this fitness. They're now creating their own program when they normally leave it up to the coaches that they're paying for their gym membership to do. And now they're doing it themselves, which is cool, which is great. But I don't necessarily go into someone else's job and start going, oh, I'm going to now do this. Oh, I'm going to do this. We just don't do it. You leave it to the professionals. Now, in the case like this, where so many professionals are putting information out there, I think this is where you should pick one and kind of stick with that. I've had a few people now say to me how they're following my program. They were following something else before, they were pick and choosing, and they realized that they were just overloading themselves. That was just in a week. So then they say, cool, this week they've been following my thing, and I'm programming based on making sure I'm not overloading anything, like a proper program. That's really how it should be. And that's what's taken away from just the sweaty workouts. And then maybe if you want to think about it, you see what your coach that you're following your programming for, and say, I'm going to also add in a 12 o'clock sweat because I know this person's doing it. I'm going to do that as my conditioning. And that's fine. But it's just not doing everyone's workouts, because it's just an abundance at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's like what we're saying in episode 2, what's functional training? Check it out if you haven't already. It's like, why are you training in the first place? What's your function? What are your goals? Like the thing I always try to ask myself when I'm writing someone's program is, what's the stimulus? Like, in this workout, in this session, in this exercise, what is the desired stimulus? What are we trying to improve? And having that in the back of your mind whenever you pick a workout to do or a session to do, and thinking about your intent behind the session and what you want to get out of it, it makes it really easy to evaluate whether it's in line with your goals or not. So if you're trying to get bigger, you're trying to grow muscle, is doing 60 minutes of HIIT body weight stuff, like high tempo, just getting really out of breath, gonna get you there? Probably not the fastest way to get there. Is there a better way of doing it? Yeah. And I think if you then look for someone else doing a strength or hypertrophy program, which there are plenty available, and you can still do that at home with limited kit if you know what you're doing. If you go in to the Instagram marketplace of workouts, just looking for something that addresses your goals, it is available. And if not, find a coach who will help you to find it or create it. Because,
well,
go on.
Yeah, because I was exactly on the lines of that, because so my program that I'm putting out there is just 2 dumbbells and 1 kettlebell and say resistance band. Now I have a barbell, I have a rower, I have an assault bike, I have all this extra kit, but I'm showing that you can get good workouts in with just a set of dumbbells and a kettlebell. Again, admittedly, I also have different weights of dumbbells, so I can add some extra stimulus. But through a lot of my programming, I'm having tempos in there, I'm having holds in there. I'm doing those things that you can include to make your lightweight seem a lot more challenging, because you just got to work with what you got. And that's what this quarantine life, I think, is showing people, is in that they have a limited amount of stuff. So now let's make the most of it. Don't look at it as, oh, I don't have anything to do. Look at it as, cool, I get to now use this and I get to do some tempo work. I get to do, some single arm work, because normally all I want to do is hit a barbell. I just want to snatch. I just want to clean. I just want to always back squat. Oh, cool. But now you get to do some tempo goblet squats. So you're going to see when your hips are normally shifting to the left, you can now correct that. I'm now doing some single leg work. Cool. I never do that because I don't have time. So This is such a good opportunity now to look at this as a way to work on your weaknesses. So, I think for any of our listeners and stuff, it's like, if you're following someone's program, great. But maybe write down, if you're powerlifting and you want to get as strong as possible, this is probably a time to not get as strong as possible. However, what this is an opportunity to do, you write down, what are my weaknesses normally for my main lifts? What is my breakdown? What do I now need to work on to help me get better? This might mean that you have to say hire a PT and not just get a free workout online, because this is then individual programming. This is what we do. So it's like, it's not looking at, cool, I need to just carry on working out. This is now take a step back, assess, and say, right, let's work on, say, my overhead stability. I need to also work on, say, my left leg doesn't work as strong. My left arm isn't as strong. So let's now use these dumbbell tempos and stuff like that to get yourself stronger. And it's to turn this into the positive that it is. It's not. It's okay. It's a negative out there. It's quite bad. But if you're fit and healthy at the moment and you're not catching anything and stuff like that, and you're at home, you should be self-isolating. So hopefully you're not going to catch anything. So take this as an opportunity. You've got a roof over your head. You've got, say, potentially a set of weights that you can use and get to work.
Yeah, massively. I think there's still loads you can do. And like you say, there's all these kinks you can be ironing out that when you have access to a barbell, you're unlikely to spend the requisite time to actually address those issues. And now it's like we were saying before, it's kind of like having an injury. Say you break your leg, you can spend loads of time getting a really strong upper body, strong core, like everything else that doesn't involve that leg working. You can see it as an opportunity to strengthen the other areas. And this is kind of the same, that now is the chance to get super strong and stable, balance out your sides, loads of unilateral work and loads of core work. There's still a huge amount of fitness that you can be doing, and focusing on what you can't do.
Get outside.
Yeah.
Because think about, like, I'm prone to saying, I want to start running. And I went for my first proper run yesterday, and it felt great, and that's the thing. It's like having this as an opportunity that every week now I want to do 1 to 2 runs. And that's my commitment to myself, because not only am I going to get my aerobic fitness up, because at the end of the day, when it comes to training and you're doing, say, 8 reps, you want a bit of a better aerobic base anyway, because you're doing more reps.
Yeah.
You want that endurance. But at the same time, in this isolation period, it's good to just get yourself out there, just for the well-being side of it. Like the running is like, when I did, it was just under 5K, and it was such a nice run. I was listening to my Disney princess music, you know, going along, doing my thing, and just by the end of it, I felt like a new person, because I just felt fresh. And I love strength work. I'm a big fan of strength work and like bodybuilding stuff. But nothing beats getting your heart rate up for how you feel afterwards. It really, and this is where I've seen so many people running now, and I guess you may have as well. It's like if I'm popping down to the shop, say with Chloe and stuff, I'm seeing so many like people, and you can tell they're not normally runners, and but they're doing something now. And this is where, you know, when we talk about, like, say, the fitness industry, and I think people are, I think when it all kind of, say, settles back into whatever groove it's going to settle into, I think there's going to be a boom, because more people are starting to see the value in fitness. And it's because they've been kind of forced into it indirectly, because they're now being told to stay at home and they need to get out. And they're like, I can't be sitting behind this and not even like commute now. So they're having to get out. And it's a real positive. And even if you can't run, just going out for a brisk walk, something that's going to get that heart rate slightly up, because obviously not everyone should be running. But everyone can do, say, a version of it to get their heart rate up and get themselves outside, get that fresh air. It's just, it's such an interesting time.
Yeah. So if you were to sum up today, what are we saying? We're saying stay conscious of your goals. Like, just because the situation has changed doesn't mean you need to panic and like throw away all the progress you've made. I think whatever you've been going for.
I think the fact that we've had 2 weeks already, that's kind of, most people say, settling time. You know, the first week was people were unsure, and this was including myself. My first week, I was eating everything, drinking all the beer. I was a different person. The second week, I've kind of just realized, okay, what am I doing? So now I'm getting myself into a routine. And I think, well, obviously, the UK, we've been told we have 3 weeks as the initial lockdown period. So I think once we hit this 3 week mark and find out what's going forward from there, that's going to give us all an idea called how to structure our lives. Because people are still, it's like, this is that period between Christmas and New Year where everyone's unsure what day it is and not sure what's happening. Everyone's just unaware. And I think a lot of us are creatures of habit and like routine. And because we've all been thrown this massive spanner, some of us are taking a little bit longer to adapt than others. And some of us are completely fine. But I do think where that's happened, that's created the panic that you said about. And that's now created people to think, oh no, I normally train 5 days a week. What am I going to do? I've got to do everything. And that's where I think just taking a step back, as we said about earlier, you know, writing down, what was your goal? Why do you go to the gym? What are your weaknesses? What can you be working on? How are you going to come out of this isolation period better than you come into it? Because this is such a good opportunity. When have you ever had an opportunity to stay at home, right? Have sleep when you want, you know, get your good full quality sleep, wake up when you need to, you know, do work. Obviously, you've got to keep ticking the box, get to train when you want. All these things is like, we've never had this opportunity. People always say they have a lack of time. This is now, you've got all the time possible. So use it, and use it wisely, because it's, you know, the training is your way to, you know, help with your mental health and, you know, help just your well-being. So treat it like that, you know, have it. If you know you're going to work out at 12 o'clock every day, at say 11:45, you're going to say, get away from your laptop, get your mind right, maybe put some music on, get yourself changed, you know, don't just train in whatever you're saying, pretend like you're going to the gym. Because that's going to give you the mindset, right, I'm going to now get to work for the next 30 to 45 minutes, put in some work, go and shower, and then have some lunch and go back to work. Do you know what I mean? It's like, you now don't have to, you know, get to the gym in these early morning starts. Like, you can do it when you want.
Bag. Yeah.
I know, you've got it all where you are. And it's just like, I've had quite a couple of my clients say, how good is this? I can cook fresh meals. I can eat when I want. It's such a good time. And I think, you know, especially as I think when we come out of this, companies should really see the value in a lot of people working from home, because they've all had to adapt. So, and obviously when it comes to our job, we can do a lot of it online, but the in-person side of things, I think that's, for me, that's a pinnacle of training. That's because that's where you are. You're in the trenches. You're seeing things in real time compared to we discussed this before. But when you're doing things over Zoom, we can do as much as we can, but you're just not there. So it's like we're making the best of what we've currently got access to ourselves. But I think people need to just, as you said, remember why they're training. Exactly. That's, I think, the biggest takeaway from today's podcast is remember your why. Because if you're just going to get swept up in the craziness of this corona malarkey, then you're going to come out of this not any better, and that's one thing you just don't really want.
Exactly. I think you don't have to compromise. That's the crux of this conversation. Is people feel like they're having to give up their previous or current training goals. You don't. You just need to get a bit more creative about how you approach them, and you can still get the same things that you want. Like a lot of people have been training from home for a long time and still getting results. So there's no reason why you can't still get what you want. And I think
also don't be afraid to hire a coach. A lot of us do online coaching, and this isn't even a plug in a selfish way. This is whoever you follow and stuff like that, and you think they're a credible coach, you think they know what they're talking about, talk to them about some online coaching, because yes, we have all this free stuff online, but nothing beats personalized programming, because it's made for you with your current situation in mind and what you currently have. So, don't be afraid to get involved like that. So it's been good. It's been good. Hopefully people are not taking it as too much of a negative time, and people see the positive that can come from this.
Exactly. I think it'll be good. I think, well, once everything's back to pretty much normal, everyone will appreciate everything a lot more. And just, I think everyone spent a lot of time and effort educating themselves and just learning about different options that are available. And when we get back to the normal in-gym stuff, it's going to be sweet.
It's going to be great. Looking forward to getting back under a barbell properly with everyone around me training. That's what I can't wait for. But so it's been good, mate. It's been a good chat.
Nice one, buddy. Let's wrap it up there. Thank you for listening, everybody. We're on iTunes and Spotify, as you probably figured out if you're listening to this. If you liked it, give us a review. Tell us what you think, what you think, and we'll see you next time.
Hey, guys. See you soon.